So this just came into my inbox. Yes, I'm literally crying. Someone's nominated me for Student Academic Rep of the Year. Oh my god, that's crazy. Oh my god. Who? Who nominated me? Jesus, that was not how I was expecting to start March. Happy tears. Oh my god, that's so sweet. I don't know who's nominated me, but that is like... I was not expecting that. Oh, that's made me so happy. I kind of want to know who's nominated me now so I can thank them. When I got a notification of this in my inbox, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, what have I been nominated for now? Like, what more work do I need to do? No, apparently it's like a good nomination. That's so sweet. I don't know who it is, but like, thank you, whoever has nominated me for that. That's really cute. I want to, like, I'm burning question, like, who's nominated me? Anywho, now that I'm like an emotional wreck, setting me up for the rest of the week in it, I can't get over that. So I am busy working on a new adjusted list of stuff to tell my supervisors because I spoke with my therapist today, and it was like, you need to be like, essentially we had a conversation about it and realised that like you just had to put up with the sniffling because I'm very happy and I cried and that's cute. Anyway, realised that essentially half the issue with this is, as I kind of said last month, like I've not had good experiences. I've not had many positive outcomes of having conversations around like my history in academia or like talking about reasonable adjustments. So like obviously the main reason that I'm doing this is to try and like give my supervisors the context as to like why I react or act the way that I do sometimes, and so that hopefully as a team like we can put some things in place for like the formal reviews and stuff like that to make them as stress-free as they can be, but also from like a healing perspective. I trust these two supervisors. They remind me a lot of Stacey and Thomas. So like I've got a lot of positive associations with these two. So I was initially gonna not even mention the abusive relationships that I had with Nicola and Sarah when I was younger. Because I was like, I don't really see the point. But then my therapist pointed out like, if you're going to do this, like you may as well kind of go all in. Like if you're going to try and reset your brain's pattern recognition around like how these types of conversations are supposed to end, e.g. with me in tears and like being told that I suck, like you may as well just go like all in and give them everything, because like you know how this is going to end. You know that it's going to end positively because they remind you of people who have reacted positively in the past, and like the other times where you've needed help and support from them, like they've been amazing. So like you've already got that positive association with them. And I was like, yeah, that is valid. So I'm now doing a slightly more in-depth like bullet point, which now includes the relationships with Nicola and Sarah, but is like literally a bullet point. I've just put I've literally put my history in brackets, bullet point edition, starting off with 2 abusive relationships with 2 tutors, one throughout college and one throughout my time as an undergrad. Through line with both of them was them using my vulnerable moments as ways to manipulate, hurt and or humiliate me. Both tutors also importantly lashed out when I asked questions regardless of the nature of them. Right. Thinking about ethics, I have a long list of questions of like stuff that I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So my list of questions thus far, and if I have answers then I'll intercut this with like the answers to the questions when I edit this. Is it better to have an additional document for participants about things like wellbeing support in case they need it, or could I add this information to the information sheets? Okay, here are the answers to the questions that I emailed over to my supervision team earlier. The answer to question 1 Yes, they think that this would be better to do separately and provide a list of agencies which people can access support from for free in case they get upset after the researchers, e.g. the Samaritans, Alzheimer's Society, Age UK. Question 2, having never written interview questions, genuine, have never done that, do you want me to only include the ones that I'm thinking of asking in the data collection method documents? Or do you want a broader snapshot of my ideas of questions I could ask so you can better help me shape them? They have said to try and do the first because they can comment if the questions need refining. So, relating to this, does the interview question documents for all the groups need examples of follow-up questions to be provided within it, as well as the main 10 to 12-ish questions? I'm not quite sure how many questions I'm meant to add. I think it's about 10 to 12. It could be less. Question 2.2. The answer was, I would suggest follow-up questions for most. You might want to see my thesis as an example and also have a look at some others from the library. So I've got some reading to do tomorrow. Question 3. I'm thinking of doing the focus groups for participants living with dementia for 30 to 45 minutes. Is this likely to be suitable for what I'm aiming to understand? I don't want to make it too long and tire people out after already attending a session. They have said that what I have suggested sounds sensible. Relating to that, question 3.1. Should I be offering for the participants living with dementia to have their carers in the group with them should they wish? I'm assuming yes, but I'm not sure if that'll muddy the water with data collection, consenting, and who speaks the most in the groups, etc. They have stated, this is a complex issue as some people living with dementia rely on loved ones to communicate, but you don't want them taking over and speaking for the person. I agree with this. This is my primary point of concern as well. They've gone on to say it might be worth us discussing how best to do this, but my instinct would be to try and ensure the carers understand you want them to help make the other person's views known and not give their own views. You might also look to see if others have done this with people in dementia in focus groups. So look for other papers on Google Scholar. And question 3.2, I'm also assuming that an hour for the semi-structured interviews is sensible. Again, don't know. And in relation to question 3.2, they've stated, would agree with the offer to split the sessions into 2 depending on the needs or the wishes of the person. Question 4. What is the deal with lone working here? I could only find this document, which I have linked, on the Learning Central, but it's very generalised. I'm not sure if lone researching work comes with any additional things I need to mention or know about to satisfy the ethics committee. Janet probably has a better idea than me of the lone working policy. If you are working within the museum, you could indicate that you will be doing interviews in a public place and that you will make museum staff aware of where you are. The key issue here is the interviews. Are you going to be interviewing people in their homes? No. If so, you need to arrange to give the person's details to a third part, such as one of us, and have a checking out procedure so that someone can call for help if you did not return when planned. So because I'm not interviewing people at their homes, it will either be somewhere in Cardiff University, somewhere in a National Museum of Wales site, or online / over the phone. That's not applicable. Safeguarding. Does Soxai, my school, have a specific safeguarding lead or dedicated person to deal with any issues that may arise within research contexts? This document, another one that I found on the Learning Central, as far as I could see, doesn't specify what the process is for any safeguarding concerns about external research participants and who I'd need to pass on my report to if something came up in a session. I've done safeguarding training before, so I know what to do with writing reports, etc. if the worst did happen. Safeguarding wise, there is a Soxai specific safeguarding lead for my department. They don't know if there is a research safeguarding policy and where to access it. So they're going to find that out for me. I don't know if it gets more complex given that I'm essentially partnered with National Museum Wales, who have their own policies and safeguarding leads in terms of who I need to report this to if needed. And as for being partnered with National Museum of Wales, you would need to work within the uni's policies, although you could say that you will also follow those of the partner agency. So we got answers. The rest of the stuff is stuff that I can work out by myself, or just detail out and send to them and see what they think when it gets back, rather than being like, how much detail do I need to go into about like the Mental Capacity Act? Because but it's like, it's literally so long already. We are at, I can't, how many pages? 19 pages already, and we've not even like detailed out everything that needs detailing out, which is kind of wild. But we're getting there. And I feel like the fact that we're getting there is like a really important thing to remember. So I'm going to send this email. Yes, okay, it's 5:30. I'm not expecting them to get back to me, but like, at least then I've sent it and I'm not going to like overthink my decision to do stuff tomorrow. So that's all my ethics questions. So what I have left to do to have all of the documents first draft ready for this ethics application, aside from detailing out the rest of the things I need to do for the ethics, I need to do my activity choices for the focus groups and an explanation of what they are and what they'll look like. And then that is basically everything done, because I have sorted out all of the consent and information sheets. I've done my first drafts of the recruitment flyers or blurb, which I'm not sure how I can improve until like I've had some feedback, so we're just leaving them as they are. I've started interview questions for carers, facilitators and the focus groups. I haven't completed them yet. Don't we look fancy, guys? Just prepping it for the, what is it that I'm doing? I should know. Postdoctoral funding event thing. I need to sound more like I know what I'm talking about. Applying for your first research grant is what it's called. So that is happening in about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna make a cup of tea. And then I'm just editing my like things that I need to tell my supervisors. I'm so nervous about this meeting. I know it's just like my brain connecting dots that shouldn't connect. And I keep telling it that it is like, it's nothing and it's going to be boring and it's going to not be dramatic and it's not going to hurt and I'm going to be okay, but like, I don't think it really believes it. So that's fun. Kettle is boiling. I'm so nervous about this meeting, guys. Do I have to do it? My brain was literally like saying in therapy yesterday, I don't need to do it. I've got most of this covered. I fucking haven't, and I know logically that I haven't, but my brain is just like, nah, run away. This is not a safe thing to do. This is going to wind up with your PhD being like taken away from you and you losing everything that you've spent months working on. Logically, I know that's not going to happen, but like, try to convince my little brain that like, that's the thing. I'm making a decaf tea. I have got my notes. I am emotionally prepared for like a fallout of like no description that like I know is not gonna happen, but like I'm like shaking. I feel like I'm going into an interview again. I'm gonna be fine, I can do this. It's nothing, it's gonna be boring. They're gonna be nice. They are Stacey and Thomases of this universe. I need to not overthink. She says overthinking the fact that she needs to not overthink. I'm gonna go make tea and then reveal my inner demons to my supervisors for funsies. Because, you know, what else is there to do when you realise that you're struggling other than, like, essentially come clean? So, wish me luck. Jesus, I'm nervous. Just when I think of it, recap from like this postdoctoral funding thing that I attended. Oh my god, it was so useful. I'm realising I know more than I thought about like research grants and like who to go to, because like I obviously had my UKRI funded knowledge transfer partnership, which was my last job before this PhD, so I already knew of that one. I know of all of like the different arts councils, a couple of like the charities they mentioned. I was like, oh, I know that one too. So, God, I'm struggling to breathe. That's not a good sign. So yeah, it was handy, it was useful. I'm glad that I attended. I just needed to like do this meeting with my supervisors. I have my little weighted bara bean and also a squishy toy. I've got water, I've got tea. I think I just gotta go do it, guys. Thank heavens I'm not in person, because I would be pacing the floor right now. Okay, let's find the meeting link. That was very fast because one of my supervisors didn't turn up. Whoops. That was fun. I'm now still sat here with the bara, panicking slightly less because my brain's like, woohoo, we got out of doing it. I'm gonna see if I can find a... No. I'm trying to like read other students' PhD theses so that because I didn't realise, I just got told this, I didn't realise that there were PhD theses online. How do I just like... Oh, there we go. I found it. God, that took ages. Right. Oh yes, sorry. This is like fascinating. Cool, I love looking at stuff like this. Ooh, okay, that's given me some ideas for like my little... I need to find the folder now. I should really be recording my screen when I do stuff like this. Ethics, additional documents, recruitment information, email invite for participants. Compare that to this. Jesus fuck, my one's long. Currently, my invite is, hey everyone, thank you for booking in to attend whatever the session title is that they've booked in to attend. The team at National Museum Wales and Cardiff University wanted to offer you the chance to be part of a research project looking at the experiences for people living with dementia accessing museum-based activities. This invite is open to both people living with dementia and carers for someone living with dementia. Please note you do not have to agree to participate in this research in order to attend whatever the session is. So what would being involved look like? If you're a person living with dementia, you'd be invited to take part in an informal group conversation after session has ended. This group conversation will be led by me and is expected to last about 30 to 45 minutes. We will provide you with some creative activities to do while you talk to us. We will be asking you questions about your time at the session, as well as your thoughts on how dementia-friendly sessions are planned and delivered. This conversation will be recorded to help the research team accurately note all you have said. Well, I need to add, you will not... What was it that they put in this one? Whatever you say to me will be anonymised. To Elizabeth... Oh, fuck. God, that made me jump. Hi over there. Elizabeth Woolley. Whatever you say to Elizabeth Woolley will be anonymised. Your name will not be mentioned when she is writing up the research, and no one will be able to find out what you said, whether it is good or bad. I like that. If you're a cat, and then that should be added in there. Hello. Yes, I'm okay. Hi, I'm also free. I'm just editing things. It was a student in crisis. Okay, so we're meeting in like 5 or 10 minutes time, so I will get a notification on my Teams when the meeting starts again, and I have to go through the whole internalized panic. Great. Fuck's sake. Okay, she started the meeting. I'm not gonna bother attending until like 5 minutes time. I'm gonna go in at like 20 minutes past so that like I give myself just like a few seconds. Where was I? If you're a carer for someone living with dementia, you'd be invited to take part in a solo interview with Elizabeth Woolley. This interview is expected to last about an hour and will focus on your thoughts as a carer on the benefits and drawbacks of dementia-friendly museum activities. This interview would be arranged at a time that suits you and can take place online, over the phone, or in person at either a National Museum Wales site or somewhere in Cardiff University. This interview would be audio recorded to help the researchers accurately transcribe what you said. Whatever you say to Elizabeth Woolley will be anonymised. Your name will not be mentioned when she is writing up the research, and no one will be able to find out what you said, whether it is good or bad. Stop pinging things. If you're interested in taking part, there are 2 information packs containing more details about this project attached to this email. These sheets cover the specifics on why you've been invited, how we will protect your identity and personal data, as well as the benefits and possible risks of taking part in this research. If you'd like to contact Elizabeth Woolley in advance of the session title, you can email her at my Cardiff University email. She will also be attending this session, and there was an allocated 30-minute slot before the session starts where she will be available to chat to you more about this project and your potential involvement in it. We thank you for your time reading this and hope to speak to some of you soon. That is really wordy, but like I feel like that is suitable.
I like stuff like this. Okay, I'm gonna go because I need to go to this meeting. Would you look at who fucking survived? God, that was like the most intense like 20 minutes of my entire fucking existence. I did it. I'm so fucking proud of myself. As planned. They were amazing. They literally give me like such ridiculously strong Stacey and Thomas vibes. It's like unreal. Like their reaction was almost word for word what Stacey and Thomas said to me. Like I can't get over like I want to cry like in the best way possible. Like I needed that. I needed people to be like, thank you for telling us, we appreciate it, we know that this is difficult, like it's okay. I did it, guys. See, brain, this is okay. I did it. They were not... I'm so proud of myself. Good news. We're starting with the good news first. I'm doing better than I was so many days ago when I last did this. So, yay. I have got essentially all of the like additional like accompanying paperwork to the ethics application done and ready to like send off to my supervisors. I've got like 3 key sections of the ethics application that I need to essentially add some additional like info and detail to, and then like I'm good to send that off to my supervisors. So that should happen at the latest by like Tuesday next week. I have a research methods book that has rocked up, so that's good. That means I can start like trying to cite some things for research paradigms, ontology and epistemology. Don't ask me how many times I've had to spell those today because like fuck me, I hate them. Like, why is English so complicated, team? Like, what the actual fuck? On the slightly more complicated side of things, my solicitor is an arse. So if you are watching this and you ever want to know which solicitor to not go with, I would recommend not going with Stedman, Jones and Bell and Ammanford because they're an utter load of bollocks. So we're no closer to knowing when we're going to move, which is great, and he's now just ignoring me. So awesome. Super professional move to have made, dude. Very pissed about it. The other slightly small marginally concerning like piece of information is twofold. Firstly, yours truly may have volunteered to do a presentation potentially to whoever the fuck decides they want to turn up, because basically my supervisor is linked to like a bunch of like social care related like organisations, one of which is Exchange, which I know very limited things about, but I think it's like a social care researchers network in Wales for social care practitioners and relevant researchers in different areas. And my supervisor sent out a call out on my university email being like, hey, does anyone want to do any presentations for things like we're after online presentations of like up to an hour, we're after some people to do that, or like to do some video presentations, like pre-recorded things. And in a moment of stupid bravery, yours truly replied back and went, hey, I'm kind of assuming this isn't for like early career researchers because like I don't technically like have any like PhD level results, but like I had a really interesting study that I did as part of my master's on like cognitive stimulation therapy for adults living with dementia in museum settings. Like I could give a presentation about that if that's useful. Like equally if like you're not after early career researchers, like I can do this at like another PhD care student event thing, because one of my friends is doing that at the next one that we've got. And he got back and he was like, oh, can you give me a bit more information about like what your thing was about? He was like, you can either do like a video or a presentation. And I was like, well, I don't mind. I'm down for doing whatever. Because like I need to pitch this. So like, can you give me like the core findings and like what your project was about, like blurb. So I sent them over a presentation that I did when I was still at UCL that has like some useful like context for like the differences between like typical CST and like what my project ended up looking at, which was essentially creative CST in museum settings using object handling and gallery tours. Can anyone sense where my like PhD idea came from, team? And then I typed up like some key findings from the masters. Like there were essentially like 4 key takeaway things, which was like space has an impact in both like good and bad ways. So like the participants of that study group, of which there were 11, really loved being part of like the public galleries because you know, they felt like they were being included in the museum, and it was really nice to sort of feel like they had like their own little private thing that was going on. And it felt nice that they were, you know, out in public and they had all of these kids and people around them. But from like an engagement perspective, it was noted by myself and the facilitation team that they asked less questions, and I had lots of people saying to me like, I'm struggling to hear what the facilitator or the gallery tour or curator or guider is like saying. So from like a CST perspective, not being able to engage in a session diminishes like the potential outcomes for it. But it was more memorable being in public spaces, and it was something that was like persistently brought up by participants. Whereas being in like the smaller galleries, yes, okay, more questions were asked, but participants remembered it less. So I was like, that's a really interesting like conflict there of like, where do we situate things with people living with dementia in public facing museums to get like the best engagement, but to also make it like the most memorable thing that we can for them. The other one was that there were, unsurprisingly, wellbeing benefits associated with being part of both the CST group, but also like meeting other people living with dementia in like informal settings. So lots of participants commented on the fact that like they didn't feel like they were lonely or isolated anymore, that they felt like they'd found friends, that it was nice to like get out of the house and like do stuff that wasn't medical related. The other one, like the third finding, was around like object handling versus gallery tours and talks in terms of like what sustained the most engagement. Object handling was like by far the thing that had the best engagement and was most memorable across the board, again for participants, but it has like ethical implications and issues around like what objects can and can't be handled in museums, like, you know, what can we do instead. Like if some participants felt like it was intimidating to handle museum objects because they were like, it felt like they were fragile, you've got to choose the right objects. Like there was a whole great big discussion about like, how do we choose the right objects to support people, because they ended up choosing casts like of like metal, like essentially casts of metal things. I'll see if I can find an image to put up here of like what they were doing, but it was very low contrast. So like, yes, okay, they had like raised bits on these casts because they were like 3D things. And like they were actual legitimate like museum objects that were like had previously been on display at the V&A. But the issue was that they were A, very heavy, so it was quite hard for participants to pick up, and B, because they were low contrast, what they were trying to do in the sessions didn't get the best results. There wasn't a lot of like feel the objects or like sensory engagement with like close your eyes and see if you can describe to me like what picture this is on here or any of that. Like it was like a talk about it with these objects, so participants like didn't really engage with the objects as well as they could have done. But again, it was like a point of like constant, like it constantly came back up that they really loved being able to handle the objects. It was noted that there was potential for museum-based CST to be more inclusive of people with different stages of dementia, because CST as it currently stands is only suitable and is only provided to people with early stages of dementia. So typically when you first get diagnosed with dementia, you are like referred to like a memory clinic. They can send you to like CST sessions, but like once you kind of get into like the mid to like end stages of living with dementia and kind of veering more towards like palliative care and all of that kind of stuff, like the support and the activities that you're able to access within the communities like just drops off a cliff face. And it was noted that because like some participants, as the sessions kind of went on, like the dementia, like it fluctuates, it's a fluctuating condition, but we had people with different levels of dementia accessing those sessions, and they all engaged in like their own different ways. So it was kind of like, I kind of noted like, oh, it could be interesting to like look in the future to see like whether this could be like something that is available and adjustable for like all stages of dementia. And yeah, like I really wish I could get a publication out about it, but like as much as I love the team at UCL, they're just so busy. Like I haven't spoken to Thomas in like 6 months, maybe longer. And I just feel bad for like bugging him and being like, can you take a look at it? Like I just don't feel like that's fair. Because I know from experience, like I was a student rep, I know just how overworked the staff are for the masters, and it's only gone worse. So I'm like, I will have other papers to my name. It would be great at some point if like we could publish the findings from my master's thesis. Like it would be amazing, but like I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, I sent that over to my supervisor today, and I was like, I can send you over, like I've got an edited version that we were going to submit for publication, that I can send over if you want it. I'm not expecting you to read it or anything, but like if you want that as well, like I can send it over in case people are interested. But like it's not, I was like, it's not published, I've got no formal findings or results or anything from this, like I got nothing. So yeah. Oh, and then the other thing is, I feel like I probably already mentioned this. Yeah, like I need to talk about the epistemologies and ontologies and stuff in detail in my methodology chapter. I thought I could maybe get away with it for a little bit until I had a bit more time to like work out what the fuck I'm talking about. No, they're not going to let me do that. I was like, fuck, dang it. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be a really interesting conversation with my reviewer, being like, I actually don't know, hun. I legitimately made this up as I went along, and I'm kind of like stating this with a degree of confidence that I shouldn't have. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But I'm really hoping that I will get this ethics stuff to my supervisors by the end of Tuesday next week. That's like ideally what I want to do, because there's only 3 very small sections that need editing, one of which is like condensing my safeguarding blurb of like, if X happens, I'm going to follow X things. I'm going to also, I think it's important to mention that like I've had safeguarding training within the last 1.5 years as well around like working with vulnerable people, so I'm up to date on that. Fuck me if I'm doing it again. It was like literally one of the most traumatizing things I had to do in Huddersfield like ever. It was awful. It was like permanently seared into my head. So yeah. And then the other thing that I need to do is like a blurbage about like a risk assessment, and then I just need to expand on my understanding of the Mental Capacity Act, which is, what is it with like legal terminology and like academic terminology making my brain like feel like it's gone through the washing machine several times. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna work it out. It's gonna be good. But I'm gonna go and edit last month's vlog because like it is. I was trying to look at what date it is. 3rd, 5th. Oh my god, it's like so bright in here. I actually can't see the date on my. It's like, I don't know. It's nearly the end of the first week of March. It was the 2nd on Monday. It's now Thursday, so it's 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. The 5th. 6th, 5th. I don't know. I'm just lost all sense of time at this point in time. So yeah, I want to go get that out. So I'm going to go make a cup of tea and go and edit that. So you might join me in my office in a second. My brain hurts. Too many things to think about. Not enough time. On the plus side, look what turned up. So I have some reading to do. I bought my own copy because I'm the kind of academic that likes to have the opportunity to use like
pencils, and I have these lovely, they're pastel coloured highlighters that I've had for like forever. Not like the same ones, but like I always go back to pastel ones. So my plan is to like read through this because there's a chapter specifically on like planning your research and like finding your theoretical position, like all of the stuff to do with like methods and methodology and like important shit like philosophy that I'm trying to work at still. So yeah, my plan is to read through that. And then also, we have to appreciate this. Look at this notebook, team. Is she not the most beautiful thing you ever did see? Like, it's a material bound notebook. So like from a sensory perspective, I'm obsessed because it's so soft. I definitely have already mentioned about the whole like presentation thing. We're waiting to hear back from my supervisor about that. They got back about like a whole bunch of questions I had about like the structure of like my methodology chapter. Like, I know I keep saying this, but guys, I just feel like I'm so lucky with the team that I've got. So yeah, update on the house situation, FYI. My solicitor can still like die in a heap somewhere, preferably once he's actually done his fucking job. But for some unknown reason, my parents, who are with the same solicitor, like exact same solicitor, have managed to get him, by some literal miracle, to agree to complete on the sale of my house by the 12th. So I kid you not, it looks like this time next weekend, I'm going to have moved into my house. That's the aim. So it will be that on the 12th, because I need to go down to Cardiff, I will go down to Cardiff and back again on the train. But then the Saturday, Friday or Saturday, I'm not quite sure which, probably the Friday, we'll like pack things up, go up on the Saturday. Like if we've completed on the 12th, I'm thinking because like I'm going to be in the area anyway, there is nothing to stop me going up to the estate agents and picking up the keys to my house, so that then we're not waiting for like estate agents to like meet us somewhere. Like we can just go in our own time. So yeah, that's a bit insane. We've gone from like my solicitor literally refusing to like give me any information and being a complete and utter twat to like, I don't know what the hell my parents managed to do. I'm convinced that my solicitor is like a raging misogynist, and just generally like a shit dude. Because like he treats my dad very differently to like how he treats me. So I'm like, I think there's a little bit of sexism at play here. Just my hypothesis, obviously have no proof. Will be lodging a formal complaint against them regardless. Because I don't think how I've been treated is fair at all. And sadly, the one thing that Huddersfield taught me is like, fucking shout about things from the rooftop. And I'm like, if that is my one takeaway from like this shit situation that Huddersfield was, then like, I'm gonna take that takeaway and run with it. I want to use my next study skills session with my amazing mentor, who I absolutely adore and cannot get enough of. Like I want to use that to like focus on this chapter. I want to start like planning out some bits and trying to like map out like the important things to stick in each section and like bullet points and bits, expand some bits, like just have someone else there to like help me kind of get this blank page from being like a blank page with just some headers into like something that I could start to like expand out in detail and like discuss a bit more. Hello, welcome to very early hours of Monday morning. If you notice a change in the quality of these videos, it be because I realised I had a filter on my camera this entire time that I didn't realise was on. So I'm now in like HD, and I'm quite impressed I managed to work that out, I'm not gonna lie. obviously I haven't heard anything from my solicitor because, like, why would he bother updating me? Especially given that all of this was going down on Friday last week. So, you know. I obviously have therapy later. I'm going to be very tired for that. My brain just does not want to go to sleep at the moment. But I know that I have no meetings other than therapy planned for today. Tomorrow I'm meeting my study skills mentor, so my plan is for the rest of today, when I'm actually awake at like a reasonable time, is to try and get the rest of the ethics stuff done and then start working on like the methodology chapter. And then the 12th I'm down in Cardiff. I'm hoping we're going to complete on the 12th for my house. That is currently the plan, is we've got to complete by the 12th. So I'm hoping on the 12th I will be able, given that I've got a flexible ticket, to kind of leave Cardiff when I need to. I'm really hoping that I'm going to manage to go pick up the actual physical keys to my house on the 12th. And then move on like the 14th, 15th into my house, so that I've got a while to sort out like issues with it. I don't possess a fridge, so that's gonna be fun. There's a fridge at my uni which is 20 minutes away from my house, but like I don't really want to be using that as like my fridge, because like it's a shared office, and yes, okay, no one's in it, but like so because I don't know for certain that like we're definitely moving on the 12th, like until I like have that in writing from like my solicitor, like I'm a bit reluctant to like start ordering fridges or like reaching out to people on Facebook and being like, hello, you have a fridge for sale, can I buy it from you? I've got questions. I got questions, hang on. So I have been writing in this book. I showed you this book a while ago. It is my new favourite notebook, and I'm going to be getting cloth bound notebooks from this moment forth, because I'm never going back to like paper bound things ever again. This makes me feel so bougie. But I have been working out ontology, epistemology, methodology, methods, and analysis of data like shit. So yeah, I think I kind of went through this a little bit last month. My understanding has subsequently developed a touch. Mostly because I've like reframed things from books that I've read into like language that makes sense to my brain. So ontology is how we see the world. Like what's my position in it? Like what's my research position, not like my personal position in it, because like that's very different. Like my research position, I have multiple hats to put on. Epistemology is like, how do we create the knowledge that we create, basically? Like, how do we know what exists? The methodology is like, I think I've put it as like a how we understand the knowledge. So like, what processes do we go through, or logic do we follow to like understand the knowledge that we've created? This is like, it's going down. So like, ontology is like, there's research paradigm, big umbrella. Then ontology is like medium umbrella. Epistemology is like smaller than that, than the ontology umbrella, so it fits underneath it. It's kind of like Russian dolls. Then the methodology is like, I guess like the last umbrella, and then the methods is like the person holding the umbrella in my umbrella analogy. But the methods is then like, how do we collect the data that we're then analysing? And they're all linked. So like your ontology, your research paradigm, ontology, methodology, epistemology will all like influence the methods that you choose. Because you wouldn't have like a quantitative perspective on like the world and think that like there's only one reality and everything is like number based or logical, and then go out and like speak to people and like gather stories, because like that does they don't mesh. It's like two opposite sides of a magnet trying to be stuck together, or the same sides of a magnet, whatever it is that like repels when they're magnets. I think it's the same side, like you can't put two positive ends of a magnet together. But I have questions in relation to all of this. The first one is my ontological approach constructivism? I don't know the answer to that, but I need to find it out. The other one was, can you have multiple ontological or epistemological approaches to research? I suspect the answer to that is going to be no, but I don't know. And the last one is emancipatory research an ontology, epistemology, methodology, or something else in terms of like, where does that fit in like this Russian doll / one person holding a bunch of progressively bigger umbrellas type analogy? So I'm going to try and find out those questions. Is it going to behave itself now? Jesus, my phone, for some unknown reason, has decided that like every time I try and do a video or take a picture or something, it needs to put like a filter on my face to like smooth my skin out. Like, fuck right off. I like how I look. I don't want to like have to constantly fight with it to get it to, I can't work out how to turn it off either. Urgh. Don't need this today. I may be slightly regretting my life decision to opt out of doing my literature review for my first chapter. Am I putting a bunch of pressure on myself to like try and make this like a really good, strong chapter, even though like I've never written a methodology chapter before and I know full well that it does not need to be perfect? Yes. I think my primary point of concern is that this is going to be like the first piece of writing that like is longer than the 500 words that I did for like the research proposal, which was just like a very short blurb. Like this is like a proper piece of like academic writing, and it's going to be the first one that anyone at the university has seen that I'm going to submit that's like using references and a bunch of other stuff, and I want it to be good. Like I know that I'm setting unrealistic standards for myself by being like it needs to be like really good because like this is the first thing that like they'll ever have seen. Not from like necessarily a point of like I want to impress them, but just from like a personal perspective of like I always like improving every time I do like pieces of work. Like, and the last piece of work that I did at this not like PhD level, but like, you know, the last big piece of work that I did was my thesis for my master's, which I'm still really proud of. And it took me ages, and it was 15,000 words. It took me so fucking long to do. Like it was a good like 6 months of work to do those 15,000 words. Yeah, like I want this to be good. I think from like two different perspectives. From like a personal perspective, I want to submit work that I'm proud of and that I feel like makes sense and that like I've kind of wrapped my head around and that I'm like, yeah, I would be comfortable with people reading this. Obviously, if I'm submitting it for feedback, that's really different to like submitting it for like the 9-month review, because that's a review of my work and my progress and stuff. So it feels like there's a different flavour to it. Whereas like, I don't know if I maybe like need to reframe this in my head as like, it's not a review of like just this piece of work that I'm doing. Like it's a review of like my progress up to date and like how things are progressing with the PhD and how stuff are going with the supervisors, which like all my reviewer is going to hear is how much I very platonically love my supervision team and like wouldn't change them if like someone paid me several £1 million. Like I love my team, they are amazing. And I have let them know that because I've become very much an advocate for like if people are doing things well, you tell them. Because I feel like a lot of people just don't hear that they're doing like good. Like from people that they're supporting, like they only hear things when they go bad. And I'm very much like you've got to have a balance in your life of like good things and things that people can improve on. So I'm deciding to like opt to do that with my supervisors and like let them know that I think they're being amazing. I wonder if I sort of need to like reframe this in my head as like it's just a piece of work. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I'm going to come back and edit this at a different point in time. But I'm just feeling really stressed about it because it feels like I've got so many questions that I don't have answers to. And I don't think I'm realistically, I don't think in the next 2 months, like I'm going to get to a point where like at least the philosophy side of this is going to be clear enough that I would feel confident submitting it. And I think that's where the anxiety is coming from, because I'm like, if this was just talking about like the research methods, the data collection, the ethics side of this, and we didn't have like the philosophy and the methodology and stuff like behind it and like the theoretical underpinning of my work, I think it would be a lot less intimidating for me to start, and I think it would be a lot less stressful, because I'm like, I know that I can explain ethics to other people. I know that I get ethics. I know that I'm confident in like my understanding of ethics, and like if someone was to question me on it, I know that I would like be able to defend my approach to things, or like reframe or rephrase some things so that like someone else can like understand where I'm coming from. Whereas I'm like, at the moment, if someone even asked me to like explain to them even what I thought my epistemological or ontological or research paradigm was for my project, I literally would be like, I don't know. And I know that there's going to be lots of points along this PhD where I'm going to hit things where I'm like, fuck, I've never done this before. Like, I'm looking at next academic year and being like, that entire year is like placements and projects and interviews and data collection in new ways that I've never done before. And that terrifies me. Yeah, it just feels very daunting to try and wrap my head around these very vague concepts of things that like, it just feels like no matter how much reading I do, it doesn't become, do we fancy witnessing in real time? Just how confusing all of this methodology crap is. I literally, kid you not, I spent an hour with my study skills mentor just trying to wrap my head around which thing falls into which category, and I still don't have it fucking figured out. For me research philosophy section, which is part of the methodology, don't ask me any more questions other than that, because like, that's the extent of my knowledge. Right, so are we ready for this glorious lecture, team? I don't think we are. My research paradigm, which is a comprehensive structured framework of beliefs that guides my inquiry, which consists of three main pillars: ontology, e.g., what is reality; epistemology, how do we know the shit that we know things; and methodology, how do we discover or make knowledge. Remember these three. These three components shape the research design and determine whether or not a study is objective, e.g., you're doing like quant data, so you're working with numbers, or subjective, and therefore it's qualitative and you're working with words, or I guess mixed methods. So I needed to find an answer to what does my research paradigm fall under? What's my ontology? What's my epistemology? And what's my research methodology? Okay, so now that we've had that glorious overview, we believe, bearing in mind this is the first time I've done this, I'm not an expert, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. We believe that my research paradigm, so my comprehensive structured framework, is interpretivism, which is an interest in people's like stories and the things that they say, and the understanding that reality is essentially subjective and like socially constructed by participants. That is my research paradigm, is interpretivism. This may change. My ontology, so what is my reality, like what is my understanding of reality, where do I see myself in it, is constructivism. Do I have any idea what the fuck that means? No. Do I have to still keep Googling it? Yes. That's my concept of reality. That's my ontology. Then the epistemology, so how do we understand the things that we understand, like in a research context, is interpretivism again. Yes, I know that's fucking confusing. It boggles my brain how you can have interpretivism as multiple things. We did initially think that maybe my paradigm, ontology, and epistemology were all interpretivism. I don't think it is, but I don't know. We're gonna try this one and see if it fits. I don't know whether emancipatory approaches is a research method, so like my methodology, or if emancipatory research could be I hate these words so much, an epistemological approach. Yes, I am squinting. Ugh. Apparently staring into a light doesn't help my poor, very tired brain actually function. Finally got some good news to you. We're moving this weekend. All very last minute. Incredibly chaotic, very stressful. But I am going to Cardiff from Carmarthen, which is currently my closest town, for the last time tomorrow. Hello. Yes, I'm keeping the headphones on. We've had 2 separate fire alarms go off today, and I am not risking having yet another one happen without my headphones on. Not having a productive start to the morning. I missed my train here, so I got in later than I was supposed to, which was fun. And then I kid you not, like the second that I got in, like walked past my building, Glamorgan first, like I could hear the fire alarm going off, and I was like, someone's probably burned some toast or something's malfunctioning. So I was like, I'll go get a coffee and some food. When I got a coffee and food, literally came back in, I kid you not, stuck my laptop on the desk and the fire alarm went off. It's like the universe is trying to tell me don't do work today. On the plus side, I do have nearly 800 words of my limitation section written. So go me. And I'm hopefully going to collect the keys to my house later. That's me. I'm going to go and actually do some work before I get kicked out by a fire alarm again. Oh my god. Those are daffodils. You can't see it very well. But those little yellow things are daffodils on the roof. That's so cute. I think we've reached the glorious conclusion that this methodology chapter is not going to be done in time. I hate just about everything to do with it. I want to bin it and throw my laptop out the window. I'm so done. And I'm so fucking cross about it. Because this is not like for lack of trying. I just don't have enough time to get this to make sense in my head. And so now I don't know what to do, because I also don't have enough time to do a literature review. Because I've wasted the best part of a month trying and dismally failing. In fact, over a month. Trying and dismally failing to get this fucking chapter sorted. And the more I try to do it, the more I'm realising I've got nothing I can talk about and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And none of it makes sense. And I just end up really feeling really stupid. And then get really angry that I don't know what I'm doing. And then get really panicky. And the whole cycle just continues. It's like a lose-lose situation. I've spent all morning in tears. And I'm done. I currently want to throw my laptop into the depths of the ocean and delete the internet. Seeing my supervisors in like 8 days. I've got nothing to show them. The ethics is still a mess. Got just over 7 weeks until this stupid fucking chapter needs to be in, and it's not going to be ready. As much as I'd love to sit here and be like, yeah, it's going to be fine, it's not. I've written 1,100 words in 3 weeks, and that's all the stuff that I know. That's on the limitations and the data analysis that I know how to answer. I've got one other section, which is the ethics, and that's not going to take another 6.9 thousand words. So I don't know what to do. And I'm feeling really stressed and really stupid and really, really fucking pissed off I think the time pressure, as much as anything, is making this 1,000 times worse because it's compounding all the issues. I don't have enough time to work out what I need to say because I can't sit and think about it, because if I sit and think about it, I overthink it. I hate it so much. For all this, like, I'm doing a PhD. I don't think this early on I'd feel this idiotic. I'm questioning if I'm even going to manage to complete this PhD at this rate. I just don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know who to turn to. I know I should speak to my supervisors about this, but like, I don't even know how to find the words. My friends and my study school support mentors have been like trying to help, but it's just not sinking in. It's not making any more sense. And the more I try and focus on it, and the more I try and make it make sense, the less it makes sense. I don't even know what I can submit at this point in time, and I think that means I'm going to fail. Ugh, it's like literally my biggest nightmare. I've had the same exact conversation with myself so many times. Being like, it's going to be fine, you're not going to fail. My team keeps saying that we're going to sort it, but they can't write this for me. I just want to give up. I want to quit. I want to run away to a remote island where there's no internet and pretend like I don't exist. I've tried literally everything I can think of. I've tried reading other chapters, but they're all like perfect polished chapters that are in other people's theses. Like, I want someone's like draft that they wrote at the same time that I'm at, where they also had no idea. But none of those exist because the stuff that's published is like someone's final draft. So like all the mess is edited out and it's flawless and it's clear and it's concise and it has all these references in and like is well thought out and well explained. Like, even the draft that my friend Kat gave me of her methodology chapter was written at a later date than where I'm at, so she's like done her data collection or like started it and has got answers to all of the things that I'm sat here being like, I don't know. I'm just so done with feeling stupid. It's got to a point where my brain's convinced itself that I can't even write anything academic. Like, I tried this morning to just be like, okay, well, could I write like a history of dementia and like why it's important to include lived experience voices in dementia-based research? And I couldn't even do that because my brain just looked at it and just cried. I hate this. I fucking hate this. I just don't understand why it's not making sense. Like, people have tried to explain it to me in like 1,000 different ways. I get the idea of it. I just don't understand how I apply it to my project. And I know that it's just me being autistic. But normally the TISM doesn't hold me back. Normally the TISM is the thing that makes me a good academic. Because I get to, you know, hyper-focus and obsess over things and go into minute details and I know the structure and stuff, but like, philosophy is, I just don't understand it. I don't think I've ever been this like, I don't even know what I am at the moment. It almost sort of feels like I've reached defeatist, where like I've tried everything and just gone, fuck it, I can't do it. Like, my brain has just given up. Literally just want to delete what I've got. Like, I don't even have time to do this literature review because they've wasted so long. I've just had a bit of a shit week. She says it's only Monday. I was meant to move over the weekend and that didn't go to plan. I do have a house. So, yay. Although at this rate, not for much longer. I'm gonna have to fucking sell it again. I'm gonna go delete some things because it will make me feel better.
Oh, hello. Welcome to my house. Not that you can see much of it. It's my radiator team. I own this. I'm fucking exhausted, so I ain't gonna give everyone a tour. Watch out for that tomorrow's. But yeah, we're all moved in. This is my first night in my house. Just fucking hope that the roof don't start leaking. Because that'll, you know, be just my luck. It's very nice though. But does need a lot doing. So I will give everyone a tour tomorrow. Welcome to my house. Welcome to specifically my living room. Ain't it beautiful? I've decided I'm doing a whole separate like house reno thing. But yes, I haven't done any uni work for the last 2 days. Well, yesterday, and I'm not doing any today because I basically need to try and sort all of this out. Because it's a mess. It's a big mess. And then when you think it can't get any more messy, there's a bit more mess. But we have tea, so the universe is fine. All of my plants are here and in one piece, and I just about managed to get some sleep last night. I have a seat. Yes, it might be my desk chair, but it's a seat, so I'll take it. I'm having a fridge delivered today. And tomorrow I've got some meetings. And then Saturday and Sunday I am off at an NHS event. I've provisionally said Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to play Saturday by ear and see how good and useful it is. And if it's not super handy, then like I won't stay for Sunday and I'll come back and do some bits here or something. Or catch up with some PhD work.
Hello. Welcome to the new hair colour. Isn't it cute? Guess who's still doing philosophy things? I still hate it. One of my supervisors has asked me to do paragraphs about my understanding of like each of the things that fall under philosophy. So that's been fun. I've literally just done those now because I'm kind of tired, and I realise when my brain is tired, it stops filtering things quite so much. Hello. Let's do a recap of today. So today was my first day at uni, having commuted from my house to the train station and then all the way to uni. And it went really well, actually. I left a little bit later than I'd intended because I decided to be a bougie bitch and I wanted to make myself a chai latte. And it just took a little bit longer, so I ended up getting into Cardiff for just after 11 a.m. I had intended to be there for about 10:30, but I missed the train by like literally 2 minutes, which was very annoying. I then met up with a researcher at Cardiff who also has a background in creative health and dementia, and also knows Helen Chatterjee from UCL, so I'm like, Jesus fuck, it's a small world. Sophia has just put out a new book that I have bought because it's an arts and health bible basically, and I'm like, yes, please sign me up. So that's on its way. Yeah, then like had a chat with her about like her background, my background, PhD things. She's supervising one of my friends, so it was interesting to kind of hear her perspective on things like placements, because she seems to know more than my supervisors do. Like Sophia, not my team. Hello, welcome back to the office. Jesus Christ. I've had to do too much thinking today. Like far too much thinking. On the plus side, I have now sent off a chapter outline to my supervisors, so that's promising. And I basically forcibly wedged all of the stuff that I've already written into the chapter because I'm refusing to acknowledge the fact that I might have to like delete the best part of like 2,000 words. Like that ain't happening. I ain't doing that. So the outline as we've currently got it, bearing in mind this is probably liable to change, is we've got an introduction first. So it's going to be split into, like, at the moment my plan is to split it into 2 sections. So we're going to have a section on dementia and creative health to, like, situate this research project within, like, the wider remit of, like, dementia and creative health, so that, like, because my external reviewer, like, isn't from, like, a creative health background. I don't really think my supervisors are either, actually, now that I think of it. But, like, my project is inherently, like, a creative health, social care kind of, like, interdisciplinary thing. So I was like, okay, well, I know eventually, like, we're not going to need, like, the rationale for the project and, like, definitions of stuff in this chapter. But, like, if we don't be like, what is she talking about? Then dementia museum activities, I need to come up with some better, like, titles for these. And then, like, that sets, like, the context, it sets the scene for, like, everything. I might need to, like, rejiffle it around a little bit, but, like, that will give everyone who is reading this, like, the same footing of, like, this word means this and this is this, and, like, everyone knows what we're talking about, so we're all on the same page. Then we go into the research paradigm. I have allotted 400 words for the research paradigm. I don't think we're going to hit that, but, like, we'll see. Then the ontology, then the epistemology, both of those also have an allotted 400 words. Then we go into the methodology, which is going to be split into research questions, so, like, what they are, rationale for choosing them. If I can tie it back into the philosophy and the creative health research practices, like, I will do. Because, like, it feels like it's a good thing to, like, link things back to each other. Then we're doing, like, the data collection method, so I'm doing interviews, discussion of, like, the approaches to the interviews, why they were chosen, all of that kind of stuff, data analysis, and then the limitations. And that should all then equate to about 1,800 words-ish. And then we go into the ethics, which is going to be split into research accessibility, so, like, the language used within dementia studies, following, like, the deep guidelines, situating my project in, like, a person-centered community-led language and approach. Dementia and ethics, so, like, a discussion about, like, the ethics of my project with, like, the Mental Capacity Act, capacity to consent within research contexts, how, like, we're going to work with people living with dementia, and then, like, a section on the advisory boards, and, like, their planned involvement in the project and all of that. That's currently my plan. Whether any of that is going to, like, fly with my supervision team, I don't know. Are basically, like, the 3 probably arguably, like, most complicated sections. I've been, like, I am doing as little on this as I can physically get away with, because I don't want to have a discussion about the philosophy of my project. Like, no thanks. But the good news is, they sign off on, like, this chapter outline. I basically have 2,500 words ready to go and notes on everything other than the research paradigm, the ontology, epistemology. Like, yeah. Like, we're not finished by any stretch of the imagination. And the stuff that I've, like, the word counts that I've put in only just reach 7,000 words, like, on the dot. But, like, I know from, like, the stuff that I've written already that, like, I've gone over some of the word counts. So, like, the research accessibility is only planned to be, like, 500 words, and we've got 752 at the moment. And again, that's not got all the references in, and hasn't got, like, information on, like, disclosure and impact and how we're adapting, like, things. So I think, like, I'll make up, like, if there are sections like the data analysis section where I'm like, I've got less on this, like, I think I'm going to make that up in, like, the other areas where, like, I can expand on things like the data collection methods and, like, research accessibility and, like, stuff that I know that I'm confident speaking about. So I'm hoping I can basically wangle this a certain way that, like, for the meantime, I can, like, write as little as humanly possible about, like, philosophy things, give myself as much time as possible to, like, develop and understand that, and then pray to some unknown entity that in 3 and a bit years' time I don't completely flake apart on the Viva, which we're not thinking about yet because the Viva stresses me out and I haven't even done it yet. Oh no,
No, don't start commenting on my chapter out, because that means that like I'm gonna have to redo something. I don't want to have to redo things. I've had too much of a day, team.
Hello, uni update. While I'm also trying to cook, so yes, I am going to be dipping in and out of frame. I have basically done precisely fuck all since I had my super on Tuesday last week, nearly a week ago. That's because I went down Wednesday, Thursday to help my parents move. Friday, I was then doing building work on this house. If you want to know what happened, watch my house doing upping vlogs. And then Saturday, Sunday, I was helping my parents move again. So I've basically not really done all that much, which is fine. I don't really feel like I'm falling behind or anything. I'm not overly concerned about it. But I'm in uni tomorrow. I've got a couple of meetings that I need to do. My plan is to try and like whack out some like extra work on various bits. So I might go to the Spark building because I quite like it as like a study location. I get very productive there because there's a lot of people around, and it's enough people that like I keep myself busy, but it's not so many that like it ends up feeling overwhelming. So I might go there. I equally might go to Glamorgan. It depends if my friend Kat is in or not. I might text her and be like, are you randomly in tomorrow? Because it would be nice to go like spend some time with some other like PhD students. So yeah, we'll see. Not quite sure what I'm doing for the rest of the week. That kind of depends on my energy levels. I've basically taken today off. I'm literally, bar this jumper, I'm in my pyjamas because I was just so chronically exhausted that I basically was like, I can't do anything. Like this morning, even like standing felt like it was too much effort, which is never a good sign. But I feel like my energy levels are picking back up. I might go for like a small... walk, maybe. I'm debating it. So yeah, my plan for tomorrow with uni related things is to try and do, depending on how my brain feels, I'm going to try and do some of the scary things. So I'm going to try to do something on like philosophy related topics. I haven't really thought about like which one or what I'm doing, but like if I just start writing and start explaining things how I understand them, then hopefully like that will be good enough. It doesn't need to be perfect. I know it doesn't need to be perfect. However, just because you know something doesn't need to be perfect doesn't mean that in my case it makes it any easier to like do the thing. I've got a meeting to do a personal evacuation plan with the building manager for Glamorgan. That's because I have a condition called post-orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS for short, which is a condition that basically just affects my blood pressure, which means that people with this condition can like faint. I don't. I can get really lightheaded if I stand up too quickly or lean over and then stand up, like, but like I haven't fainted yet. And my doctors think that if I haven't fainted yet, that probably means that I'm not going to. But that doesn't mean that I won't. So we're basically doing this evacuation plan just, I think, as a precaution. So I need to do that. That's at 2:30 tomorrow at Glamorgan. I feel like I'm doing good. I feel a bit bad for taking the day off. But I was like, actually, it's more important that I have enough energy to last the rest of the week. Because I'll end up doing more if I don't overdo it. And I did overdo it last week by accident. So I'm quite glad that like I was like, no, I'm gonna listen to my body and I'm just gonna like spend a day chilling. I basically haven't really moved all that much. I do feel like I need to go on a walk, so I might eat some food and then go to maybe the Tesco's in town to get like some black bin bags, just so that I have them in the house. I had a very productive day today, team. I have written probably about 1,000 words today. My friend Kat was in her office, so I was able to join her, which is always like the loveliest thing. So I'm going to be back in the office with her again, and Kirsty. It was another final year PGR. So I'm hoping I'm going to work out a bit more for this chapter, but we have officially reached the over 50% of the word count. So that's really good. We're actually about 54% drafted at the moment, which is great. I'm feeling really happy with it. I have decided that the philosophy is by far going to be the weakest section. It's going to be rough, it's going to be a draft, it's going to be full of... I'm still learning about this and I'm probably going to use the wrong term and get it all confused, and I've just accepted that, like, that is just going to have to do for now. But yeah, we're at 3,847 words, which I really feel like is pretty good. I'm getting the in 10 days time. Bearing in mind that 4 of those days is Easter weekend with bank holidays, which is this weekend coming. So I probably won't be doing like too much, because I'm at my nan's. I'm going to bring like a book with me, so I can read on the train, but like I'm not intending on like bringing uni work with me. I'm just intending on bringing my I would get it out. My Arts and Health Bible is what I've called it, to sort of like read and highlight on the train on the way down there. So, or I guess across, because she's in Angmering, which is like literally the other side of the country from where I'm at. So yeah, my house now has Wi-Fi. Don't know if I've mentioned that before. It's the greatest thing ever. And in terms of like what we've actually done for this, I keep losing the mouse on this thing. In terms of stuff that we've actually done, we've got like the introduction that kind of like lays out what the chapter is about, and then like the specific sections within it sort of mostly done. The dementia and creative health were like 20 odd words off like hitting the word count for it, so I'm leaving that for the meantime. The Dementia and Museums Activities section, we've currently got 238, and that's like the last of the intro. The Research Paradigm, I've basically not really got anything on. The Ontology, we're up to 175 words out of 300, so like, we're doing alright. The Epistemology, 220 people, 220 words, look at me go. I'm really convinced that like I've put it in the right section, what I've put. I don't know. I'm pretty sure like an emancipatory approach comes into it somehow, but I don't know if you can have that as an epistemology, or if my epistemology is going to come under something else. I don't know. And then I have a new section on positionality. I need to like write a section on axiology, which like me and Kat and Kirsty all looked at today and were basically like, what the fuck? But like no one within social sciences ever really talks about like axiology as like a thing. Like Kirsty literally was like, what is that? And Kat was like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's something to do with like how values of the research like play into like the project and its approaches. And Kirsty was like, oh, so like a positionality statement. I was like, I think it's different to that. So we're 305 out of 300. It's not in academic language, but like I don't give a fuck at this point in time. None of this really links into each other or like makes much sense. Then we've got like the methodology, that we've got like the intro to like what that section holds. So it has the research aims and objectives and questions, the data collection methods, data analysis and limitations. The research aims, objectives and questions, we've got 311 out of 400 words done. Data collection, we haven't really started. Same with data analysis. The limitations is 361 out of 400, so like is pretty much most of the way there. And then ethics wise, we've got like the ethics introduction, which is again just like outlining what the section looks at. The research accessibility is by far the biggest section, which is 866 out of 1,000. We haven't really done much on like dementia and ethics. We've got 175 words on that, so I think my plan for tomorrow is to try and like whack that out a little bit more. And then I've got nothing on the advisory boards. But like we've got pretty much something written for every single section. Which is really good. The two sections that really need work that like I know I can do is like three is the data collection, data analysis, and then the like dementia and ethics, so like the portion on ethics, with like the advisory boards being included in that. So there's basically 4 sections. I'm like, if I could get those sort of like roughly drafted, even if they're below the word count and have notes and like I'm missing references and stuff, like I think that's going to put me in a good position for like submitting this for feedback. I don't quite know like how many words we'll get, or like, you know, I sort of trying not to be too strict on these things. But like there are sections of this that I'm really quite happy with. So as like a way to kind of end a month, like I feel like having done nearly 4,000 words of writing is like not too bad. And considering at the start of this month I literally was in tears over this like chapter, I think, you know, I've put this as version 2. It's not. This is like the 8th or 9th draft of this chapter because I've deleted all the ones basically prior to the last one that I did of this, which I still have floating around somewhere. So like we've done a lot of different drafts. We've tried this a lot of different ways and like it kind of hasn't really worked a lot of the time. So like to have gone from essentially having nothing to the best part of 4,000 words in a month, I'm actually really proud of that as an outcome. I think that's pretty fucking good. So yeah, I'm not quite sure when this is going to go up because like obviously computer isn't set up, so don't quite know when I'm going to do that. Thank you for watching this month, and I will see you next month, I guess, everyone. Who knows what that's going to entail? A whole bunch of chaos, probably, as I advance towards the 9-month review, which will be happening the 20th of May, is my deadline. Do I have any idea about what we're doing with that? No. Am I still really stressed about it? Yeah. Are we just kind of accepting that I'm going to be really stressed about it? Yeah. It's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not emotionally prepared to be questioned about my like philosophical stance and shit. To a point where like I'm doing an autistic bean and I'm like planning scripts as to like how I respond to something if I'm like I don't know. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yes, that is it for the month. Bring on whatever happens in April. Probably more chaos. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next month.